Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Bev, thank you so much for being here.
oh, thanks, Lynda, for having me on.
Yes, Scotty, Willow, Jeanette, thank you guys for joining us early on. I'm glad you're here early on because I actually have a couple quick announcements before we get into this really big show. Really big show. I wanted to thank everybody who's been a part of this channel over the last few years, and especially this last year in particular. Not really sure which direction it's going. Spirit is leading me in so many different ways. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and just thank you guys for being here, whether you've been a guest on the show or you've left a positive and uplifting comment, or you just check out my stuff on the replay. Thank you so much for being a part of this community, whichever way and whatever direction it may go. Because as you guys know, I kind of bounce around from thing to thing from time to time, and it is spirit and soul led. So I'm just glad you're part of my journey. And I wanted to let you know that I'm weighing the impact that I'm providing, hopefully providing some kind of impact and value. And I'm weighing that against my time. So I'm reevaluating everything just to see whether or not these videos are helpful, or where this might be going. Like maybe just popping on to have Bev on from time to time, maybe all that's going on through the spring equinox. I'm going to do this season by season, just so you know, but my soul is pulling me towards a lot of the quantum work that I'm doing that's more tangible with my hands, like the jewelry making, if you've been following along. And there's a lot of creative artwork and everything. And that aside, there's also very real foundational work that I may be a part of, and that has yet to manifest. But as it does, I will be having less and less time to make videos. So I just wanted to thank you all for being here and being part of this community. If you want to follow along, my daily posts are over on Instagram. Yes, I am using Instagram now. I also finally got the push from Spirit. Bev, I think this is when Jupiter went direct. A flood of energy came in, and I believe that it's like this organizational piece that I was missing. I think it was there all along, kind of like Dorothy, Yeah. And it finally came in, and I was finally able to see this. I know you're going to line it up and say, well, it was in your chart, because you're probably right. But what it was is Teach Peace Designs is always supposed to be about art and design and the poetry and the soul level stuff that I do. And LyndaLight.com was supposed to be about me and my services, my mentorship, my books, my courses, those kind of things. So I finally teased out the two. I put all my project work and everything under Lynda Light. And I'll put a banner up in a minute so you guys can catch it if you want. But both of the website, they're separate. They're separated out, and it's organized, and it really feels so good. It's like, once you get all the blocks out and you organize something properly, you can feel the energy flow, feng shui, I like to call it. Well, that's kind of what's happened. So long story short, thank you for being here. I'm getting myself better organized. There's lots of project work coming up, and Bev's going to fill you in on what this massive year coming up in astrology is going to look like, because it is really powerful. It's blowing my mind, and I know a few things, but wait till you hear what Bev's got lined up to tell us for 2023. Wow.
A lot.
Yeah. Start with what we're in right now, if you don't mind, because I know what happened today, for example.
Well, today, if nobody felt it, Mercury stationed retrograde. It's stationed retrograde in Capricorn. It'll be there until January 19th. So, yeah, when Mercury, we all know Mercury retrograde, it's the reassess, reevaluate. So everything you're doing, Lynda, falls right into the timing of all this, because, we've had Mars in retrograde in Gemini. Okay. And that's, it's been a long retrograde, and that is just a few days before Mercury goes direct. Mars goes direct too. And the interesting thing about it is, it's like a super retrograde, because Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. Okay. So you've got Mars retrograde in Gemini. So it's almost like a double Mercury retrograde, because you have the Mars energy. So you've got the two parts of your chart there. You're getting like the push and pull between the Gemini houses and the Capricorn houses. So yeah, it's like they're building upon each other, and it's this, I call it the super retrograde, because of the ruling of the houses and the signs. Mars is kind of saying, hey, let's go. And Mercury in Capricorn says, wait, let's think about this. Let's make a long-term plan. Let's get clear on what's important now and what really resonates with your authentic self. So the things you were doing and organizing, it's right here in all this.
It's funny when you feel those pushes, like Mercury going into retrograde, and there's all kinds of things. We say the Re's were all those planets in retrograde through the fall and through the season now. Is there any planets still in retrograde right now?
We've got Mercury in retrograde, we've got Mars in retrograde, and Uranus in retrograde. We start the year out with those three.
Okay.
And then during the course of the year, actually all the planets then go direct on January 23rd. So
Wow.
yeah, we start the year with 3 in retrograde, and then those 3 go direct, and everything's direct as of January 23rd.
So like reorganizing, redo all the things we do with that. We're coming out of that season. That's part of the 1-2 punch, like
Yes.
that I put in the title, because really when something goes in retrograde, it's like, something slows down. You have to stop and think. Like today, there's this email and things you're writing and different things. You have to wait, don't hit the send button right away. So
Yeah.
all these retrogrades as part of one, for the 1-2 punch that we're getting this whole chance to reevaluate, reassess, and here's the rewords again, really realign with ourselves. We're trying to align ourselves with galactic time, with the true north within ourselves. That's what the 0 point. That's what we're really looking for. That's the 0 quantum point, which I know you've got something else to say. I won't jump into that yet. I don't know where, if you're ready for that one.
That's all right, but yeah, so we're dealing with that retrograde of both Mercury and Mars here right now. So I don't know. It's just those RE words are good because it's a lot of people go, oh my God, Mercury retrograde. No, I look at it as an opportunity. So you can take those things, you can reevaluate them, and being in Capricorn season, we're getting ready for the end of the calendar year. So it's a time of actually reassessing everything anyway, and we have the support then from Mars and Mercury. Mars is always kind of wanting to get going. Mars is like putting its foot on the gas pedal in Capricorn, and Mercury's saying, hey, wait a minute. Let's make sure you've got everything in order. Let's look at how we can do this. Is this really what you want to do now that we're wrapping up? We're into the 3rd quarter of the astrological year.
Oh, right.
So in April, we start the new year with the Aries new moon. So it's kind of cleaning up from last year. It's like cycles within cycles. And that's how, just looking at all this stuff, it's just blown my mind, because you look at one cycle and then you look at that cycle inside of that cycle. And it's mind blowing what the astrology is showing us here in this next 6 months even.
Well, I'm glad you're trying to bring this down to earth for everybody, because that's what we need. Amy's saying, I love Mercury retrograde, especially since I learned how to work with it. Can you comment on that, Bev?
And that's it. You work with the energies. You see where it's retrograde at, and then you look at the themes of that particular sign. So if you take it and you say, okay, I'm not going to look at this as a bad thing. You make extra time. You're not so rigid in your plans. If you're prepared and you know how to work with the energy and use the higher expressions, that's what it all is all about. And that's what I love about astrology, and why I love teaching people and empowering people, because to me, once you can work with it, and it changes your whole life.
Yeah. That's like
having that knowledge to me is what it's all about. So now now what are you going to do? You've learned, better. All right, let's take this forward.
Yeah. That was one of my shticks. My soul was guiding me to that. Once you know, you'll always know. So it's like you're responsible now. Once you know.
Right. You can't say, oh, well, I didn't know,
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's a big deal right now.
Jeanette's asking if you started a class. So I don't know if you had any plans to that, or if you wanted to speak to that at the end of the show, or if you had something now.
Actually, working on a computer, and I have a nice little list of the things that I want to get going in January. There's some personal things that kept me from doing it and stuff. So yes, that is on my list for January. I'm going to make an announcement and send some emails out if you're signed up on my website about some specials and some different things I'm going to get going. So definitely.
We've all been in that phase. So, whether that looks like like family or work or how, whatever houses and all that stuff that your planets are in, how it affects you is what are you reevaluating? And, getting to the point where the universe is saying, are you sure this is what you want? Like you always say, Bev, and it makes a lot of sense because it's like, yes, this is what I want to move forward with. Then you're going to get all the assistance that you need to move forward.
I see it coming. Yeah. We got the universe that's saying, okay, ready or not, here we go. And it's given us this time with these retrogrades to go ahead and look back through things. So when everything goes direct and when Mars and Mercury comes out of retrograde, then you kind of know. And it's going to be like mid-January when they come out of retrograde. So I think that's going to be a time that we start seeing things fall into place. It's going to be all those things that you had to go back and rework because Mercury is how we look at things, how we learn, how we communicate. And that's working with Gemini. So those are Gemini words. And so you've had Mars retrograde there in Gemini. And it's instead of rushing and doing the multitasking and stuff, you may have put things into motion. But with these retrogrades and everything going on with the other planets and aspects, it's been a time to look at it. And it's kind of been done in two parts. It may have been like doing the original, doing the second draft, the final draft, kind of what we were talking about earlier, Lynda. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. But I see January, mid-January, things starting to fall into place and steps finally being able to be taken.
That's
right now,
good.
it's the reflect phase.
So it's kind of, I think Scotty Boy mentioned it last week. He was trying to say something like 10 steps forward, 12 steps backwards, or sometimes that's what it feels like. It really does. And even if that's the case, it might only be for one area. It might not be all areas of your life. So whatever is presenting itself, just like if you got 10 fires, which one, which ones you're going to put out first, sometimes you just have to prioritize what needs your attention. And it's definitely, if it's something that's going to move forward, I feel like the middle of January feels good too, because the foundational work that I'm hoping manifests, I was told middle of January towards the end of January, more than likely for things to really start moving forward. And it lines up with the astrology. And this is like real world stuff. This isn't like energy stuff. So it's pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty cool how it does that too. You start thinking of things falling into place and all that. And you watch it and people around you, just like you talking about that. So people talk, I listen and go, oh, there's the astrology talking. I may not always say it, but it's like, I can see things falling into place.
Well, it's got all the alignments, like you say, all the alignments from the planets now. So, and as we're moving forward, it's just like one positive thing. Well, I know the readings can be tough. I don't want to speak that it's all positive because no, it's not. But like I feel like the heavy lifting has been done. We've done a lot of this heavy lifting, and now we're at a place now where we can just really hone in on focus. If you're aware of the general aspects of astrology and what's happening, you're getting all the assistance that you need to help you move forward in whatever your life mission is, your soul's purpose.
And I think that's a lot of what we've been seeing, with the U.S. having the natal Pluto return. I think that's kicked off a lot of it. And now we're at about the midpoint, I want to say, of this, because it'll come back to that point one more time, go forward, retrograde back one last time. So we're like in the second step of it. And I think with these positive aspects that we got coming up that I'll talk about here in a minute, in March, I think that's really going to take a look at the things that have been taken down, things that have been looked at. It's not working anymore as far as institution, governments, bank, you name it, just any type of thing. I think we're going to see a big change in that. And that's going to be positive, but we're not quite at the end of it.
No, we never are we?
No, you can never say we're at the end. It's always it's energy and motion, and it cycles within cycles. So but I do see it becoming positive, and I do think we're going to see some major changes.
We're waiting for that one, right?
Yes.
We're waiting for, come on in.
I'm ready. And I know everybody else is too, because I don't know if people have been feeling it how everybody had their holidays and stuff. The energy wasn't too bad. I know everybody was in the deep freeze here, and it just seems like the last couple of weeks have just flown by.
Yeah, they have. And I feel like every night the sun's popping off, even if it's on the other side of around the planet, because it's nighttime here. It's like I feel like I can feel the CMEs now when they pop off, because I just get like little charges of energy, like almost like mirroring, echoing through my body. And sometimes it's really hard to get to sleep.
I had a couple of those nights the other night. I laid here and tossed and turned. I thought, I'm tired, but it's like I just couldn't shut my mind off. So I tossed, turned, watched a little TV, until it passed.
Yeah. It's energy. Well, Bev, are you getting that during the day too? When you get little energy pops off, and you just suddenly get this like fire flood of inspiration, and you have to just, if you don't write it down, it's gone.
Yeah, that's a lot of that retrograde stuff. It's like the short-term memory has been really bad. So yeah, I've jotted things all over it. I'm laughing because now I've lost some of my notes, little things. So I'm trying to get a little more organized there too. So yeah, it's the season for that. But yeah, I felt it. Interesting too, Lynda. You'll have to. I meant to talk to you about it before the show. Look at the Schumann Resonance.
Oh,
it's really strange. There's like nothing, no big. It's just like all like blank. It's different colors. It's very interesting now.
All right, I'll check it out.
So anybody else follows that, you might want to look at it and just see. I kind of watch it, and I can tell when energy happens in that. But it's definitely different. I don't know if it's what's coming in here the beginning of the year or what, but yeah.
All right, I'm looking it up now. I'm just curious now that you're saying that.
Yeah, I meant to mention that to you earlier. I've had about 5,000 things running through my head.
All right, here it is. Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, what?
Huh.
I don't
That's
know what
strange. That is definitely not echoing what my body is feeling. So that feels like a cover. Not a cover, just that doesn't feel accurate to me.
It doesn't feel accurate, because what I've been feeling too, and that's why I kind of wanted you to take a look at it. I didn't know if you could share it or not. I was going to send you a screenshot, and I didn't get it.
I don't know if I can do. I forget how to screenshot. Let's see. Isn't it like Control S?
Well, I'm on my phone, so yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? I could see if this brings it up.
Didn't mean to jump off and grab it.
Okay, I think I got it. No, I think I got it. Anyway, good. And when I get it, I'll throw it up in there.
Okay. The other thing I was going to talk about is, tomorrow we have Venus conjunct Pluto. And when a planet's conjunct Pluto, it's always major changes. So New Year's Eve, we're going to go into a Venus conjunct Pluto, and it's about big permanent changes related to Venus issues, which are relationships, finances, what our values are, what we value. And it does bring, it's like the Phoenix, with Pluto. It brings, it transforms, and it dissolves and gets rid of things that, no longer resonate. So just know we're in Mercury retrograde, and we've got this Venus conjunct Pluto for New Year's Eve. So it's definitely a time with the Mercury retrograde too to be very mindful of what you say. This is a time you could be walking through a minefield. So be very gentle with yourself and others. I know I've said that a lot, but it's been a big thing here with that Mars being retrograde in Gemini. It's lasted. It's been a couple months. It started in October, and it doesn't quit till January. So now,
what's the date again? Early or mid-January? Did you say?
It's mid-January. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So yeah. So now you've got Mercury retrograde too. So it's really a good time to watch what you say. And if you have any plans, just kind of be on top of things. Know they could change. Bring in the new year the best you can, but kind of keep control over your emotions and know when to speak and when to let that throat chakra just be.
There's always the throat chakra, isn't it? All right. While you're talking, I'm going to throw it up on the screen again so everybody can see that. That is not Amy saying she was feeling the solar flares as well. And this does not.
No, it doesn't.
What I've been feeling.
No,
and,
me.
Derek is here. Hey, welcome. Sorry about that. Welcome, Derek. And anybody else, if I forgot to say hi to you or I missed you, Willow, Jade from View, nice to see you guys. Amber, nice to see you. Warren, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I just gave a little quick thank you in the beginning and letting you know which direction the channel is going in the beginning. So when you're done watching this, just go back and watch the first like 2 minutes of this, and when the replay's up. Yeah, Bev, this absolutely does not look like what I'm feeling. It's like missing. It's just, I think it's a cover. They know we're watching the Schumann now, so I think
that can't be true from what I've been feeling, what other people have been feeling and telling me. Yeah, it's too calm. I don't know. I just don't agree with what's being shown and what they're trying to do. A lot of times, though, that's the Russian model, and I'll check the Italian model, and it'll be going crazy. You know what? I checked it too. Nothing. It's just
I think Bev, I think they've got them all now. But Stephanie's with us too. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey,
nice
Stephanie.
To see you guys.
Glad everybody could join us.
Yes, we're very happy you're here, and I know there's more. I have to Google Schumann stuff. I don't know what that is. Okay, Amber, think of it as like the scientific measurement of the heartbeat of the hertz on Earth, the frequency. It's like the measurement of Gaia's electromagnetic pulse for her heartbeat. It's an Earth ground measurement. But when the sun pops off and flares, well, we don't really know what it is, but we know when there's solar flares and then we see the hertz going up, we know it's like electromagnetic. It's higher. If it goes 40 and above, that's fifth dimensional energies. And that just means if you see a pillar of light that goes across that strip that I was showing, if you see from top to bottom, one of those pillars of light, but sometimes they're bigger and sometimes, whatever. If they're going through the whole thing, that's 40 hertz or higher. That's what that is. Higher,
yeah, because when they first set that up, they didn't think it was going to go any higher than 40. So yeah, it's been amazing. I started following it back in 2017. It was one of the first things I got into, along with the astrology. So yeah, if you got a moment and check into it, it's pretty interesting. At least if you got the brain like I do, I got to know how everything works. So
yeah, Stephanie was saying she's been super tired. Yeah, whenever you start talking about the Schumann and solar flares and all that. My mom was feeling tired. All the ladies in the lobby, the sisterhood of the ladies of the lobby, which is what we've dubbed ourselves now. Everybody's feeling so tired. Like, I don't know why. Sleeping. It's like, well, we have more energy. So, it's either harder to get to sleep, or when you do sleep, it's not great and deep sleep. So the next day you're going to be really tired. And if there's waves popping off right now, it's draining.
Yeah, it is.
We're going through this physical ascension, and it's not without its, I don't want to say symptoms. Please stop me from saying symptoms. Ascension. I don't know. I can't think of another word for it.
So upgrades. So even when you change is, even when you have a positive change, it still causes some ripples in the pond. So look at it that way.
Yeah.
It's a good change and it's positive, but it's not, it's not always going to be smooth sailing. You may feel it a little bit, stronger, and it depends on where things are in your chart too. So yeah, there's a lot of factors in that.
Yeah. Stephanie was asking if anybody's checked out the pole shift on YouTube, and it's crazy how much has shifted. Actually, if you follow Suspicious Observers, Ben over there, he actually writes scientific textbooks for university, college professors and whatnot. Like, he is very well versed. He's put his own books out there. He's shown how the North Pole and the South Pole would be meeting up, I think, don't quote me on this, but I believe he said in the Indian Ocean. So sometimes every, say, 11,000 some years, they'll come, they'll meet, and then they'll go back. Now, when they come, they meet, and they do a complete pole reversal. There's scientific proof of that. And of course, that information wasn't supposed to get out. So people like him have been, what we've gone through. I'm not in the scientific community, but you know what I mean?
They started talking about it back in the 70s. I found, going through some of my mom's old papers and stuff, I found a newsletter from someplace in Arizona where they were talking about the pole shift back then. That was like 1978 and 79. So it's been ongoing. It's just not everybody knew about it, And I don't think too, Lynda, I don't know if they've talked about, is it going to actually stay this time, or is it going to meet and flip back?
Ben was saying, and I don't follow him all the time. I don't have a lot of time to follow him, but he does post quite a bit. And he was posting on like earthquakes and volcanoes and all kinds of stuff. Like, he's really good. So Suspicious Observers, check that out. He was saying that nobody really knows. We don't know if it's going to be a half or a full.
I just wonder,
we're waiting for the 0 point. I would say let's go for the full. That should be the compression breakthrough that everybody's waiting for. I can't see a half of one doing that, but and all these cycles that are ending, all these new beginnings, all these things that are happening at the same time, I can't see it being just half.
I kind of felt that way, but I mean, I didn't know what anybody was saying. That was just kind of my gut feeling that, yeah, I think it may be a full flip. I really do, especially with all the weather stuff we have going on that isn't actually manufactured.
You're right. Right. The real weather, right?
Real weather.
Who knows what's real anymore? We can tell by the clouds, but who knows if a storm was bioengineered, or we don't.
If it had help, that's how I put it.
We know that Walt Disney put out a video back in the 50s that was on a news channel, because we saw the video being circulated a couple years ago, and it was promoting weather weather modification tools and things that they could do now, which were not just space weather not weather balloons, but like stuff that they could actually modify weather with. Like, we can steer dangerous storms out of your way, and they're bragging about it on this video. So like, we know they were talking about this back in the 50s. So
no, nobody talked about it. That's what's happening with a lot of this stuff happening too. Things are coming out more and more. And you think, once Mars gets out of retrograde in Gemini and starts moving forward, man, is the information going to play out? We're going to start hearing a lot more. Matter of fact, I see the first half of the year, at least, of being big things dropping and big things changing.
Yeah.
We're going through that, like I said, that Pluto return, going back to the exact degree, January 12th to February 12th. So it's going back over things one more time, and then it's going ahead into Aquarius. So we got Pluto going into Aquarius, and Saturn just went through Aquarius. So it's all these things that are being dissolved, and things that are taking us into that new age of Aquarius too. So I can see that in the astrology also.
What was that when Jupiter aligns with Mars and something is in the something house? Like, are we there yet, or did we already pass that alignment from that song, Age of Aquarius?
We're not quite there yet. It's like the transition, and we're about midpoint on the transition, which I can see that with the astrology too. That's why I said, even though we've got this positive astrology for 2023, this is going to be like the beginning of it, and we've got one more play with that Pluto going back to that same degree. So I can see it. We're probably about halfway through the process, just from my perspective.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be overnight, but if there's a compression breakthrough that is overnight, we have to get to it at a certain point. But I don't think it's going to happen before all these cycles finish up or start new. There has to be something that goes along with that.
Yeah, definitely.
You haven't talked about the 2 and the 1-2 punch yet. Are you there yet, or not yet?
That's where I was getting ready to go next. I was just going to wait to see if you had any other questions or anything I'd missed there.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
So have all this going on now. We got the good stuff. Again, we got all the planets going direct January 23rd, and all the planets will stay direct from January 23rd until April 21st, when we have another Mercury retrograde. So that's January, February, March. That's almost 3 months of all planets direct. And during that 3 months, in March, we have 5 planets at 0 degrees. So we have Mercury at 0 degrees of Pisces. We have Saturn at 0 Pisces. So they're together, Mercury and Saturn. Then we have Venus at 0 Taurus, Pluto at 0 Aquarius, and Mars at 0 Cancer. And this is all within the first 3 weeks of March. So I see that as major starting points.
This blows my mind. I'm going to leave that comment on because that's a good one. The dawning of the age of Aquarius, 5th dimensions. Yes.
Yes.
And for 5 planets, like, just to be at a 0 degree, like, you could have a planet. How long does it take Pluto, for example, to get from 0 to its finish and start at 0 again? How many years is that?
It takes about 20 years for Pluto to get through one sign. So 12 signs times 20 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it could take a long time. So to have 5 planets
at 0 degrees at the same time.
1 month, in less than 1 month, in like 3 weeks.
Yes.
That's insane. To me, that is the biggest insanity. Crazy. If you think about how all the new begins. So before spring is coming, you guys, spring is coming. Yeah.
And all these
Plus
0
or minus.
degrees, so it's starting out, okay, each sign has 30 degrees. So they're decans, they call them, DECAN. So 1 to 10 degrees, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. All 5 planets starting at the beginning of all these signs. So you got 2 of them starting in Pisces, 1 in Taurus, 1 in Aquarius, and 1 in Cancer. So you start breaking it down. Now you start looking at each of these things. You look at what they're you got 1, 2, 3 of them starting at 0 degrees in water signs. You got 1 starting at 0 degrees in an earth sign, and you got 1 starting in an air sign. So you've got the water, earth, and air. There's no fire there now, but remember, Jupiter is in Aries and it's giving us that fire too. So, you know, we've got other things going on with the fire signs, but in those ones, those 5 that are going to 0 degrees, that's a major deal to me.
I can't believe that, actually. Amber's saying, makes sense. 5s are everywhere. Yeah, well, if we're heading to 5th density or 5th dimension or 5th whatever, it makes sense to be seeing the 5s. Oh my God.
And the cool thing about it too, you look at what houses these fall on. So like when you look at the standard the signs, Aries through Pisces. So Aries is first house issues and on down the line. So you got Pisces, which is the 12th house. And we know we've been doing a lot of we just got Jupiter through there doing the last of the doing its retrograde and then starting a new 12-year cycle. So you've got Mercury and Saturn both starting there in Pisces, and that's 12th house. So when you're looking at 12th house issues, you're looking at, I think I'll make some more notes. I had notes everywhere. Yeah. So when you're dealing with the 12th house issues, it's spiritual learnings, connection to the universe. It's about our unconscious, our dreams, things that are hitting. It can be about music, meditation, intuition. It's about completions, forgiveness, spiritual growth. So that's a big deal, having Mercury and Saturn there. They're going to go through that last sign of the zodiac. So, yeah, that's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
So you start looking at it like house, you look at it as element, and then you start, I can go down a whole rabbit hole here as I'm taking it apart piece by piece. But yeah, I'm just kind of trying to get an overview of those things.
Well, that's what we need here. We need the overview because sometimes this is too much to handle. If you guys just even logically think about it, we don't usually put logic with astrology, even though it does kind of make sense to do that. You know, I think we want to put astrology in the woo-woo category, right? No pun, no offense meant on that one.
Yeah.
But you know, when you start looking at it and it makes logical sense, okay, but 5 planets at 0 degrees in March, that just doesn't that tells me that's like with the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012 on the solstice would be a cycle within a cycle within a cycle and all that we're all ending. Yes. And they couldn't see in the future beyond that date. Didn't mean end of the world like people were predicting, but now it's like now is the new beginning that you can clearly see because 0 degrees is a new beginning. Right. And that just feels so important. It feels so like this spring feels like the true resurrection of a new cycle, a resurrection of a new time period, the resurrection after a graduation. It feels like a graduation is like we're done. We already took our test. We already passed. Here we are. We're just like putting the flowers in our hair, putting our jewelry on. We're, you know, calling our friend, okay, we'll meet you at graduation. Like, don't get in any fights with anybody. Be careful driving. We'll meet you over there.
Yes.
You know?
And that's where we're at. And to have those all lining up like that again. I know Pluto stays in Aquarius for about 3 months, and then it goes back into Capricorn, like I said, for that last pass on the Pluto, USA's Pluto return. But it's going to give us a little bit of an opening into that. But with Venus being at 0 degrees of Taurus, so you're looking at Venus themes, and in Taurus, it's about what we value, what has meaning to us, what really resonates with us now after we've gone through these other cycles and we've done the healing, we've done the transmuting. So now what can we do in all these areas? So you start looking at where these fall in your chart, and then you look at the planet and say, okay, you know, what does this planet? So you can kind of see how things are moving through your chart that way too. Like Mars being at 0 degrees of Cancer. That's a water sign, and that's also known with the 4th house, which is home and family. Then you have Pluto in Aquarius, which Aquarius is about the collective, but it's also about the individual and their frequency that makes up the collective as a whole. So, I mean, looking at where these things are at, you got Venus at 0 degrees of Taurus. That also is finances. We know that something's going to happen. I mean, things can't keep going the way they're going. So I see all these different areas being highlighted in March. And to me, it can't be coincidence. And we've got a lot of things that we've set and gone through over the last couple of years that now we're finally going to see maybe, okay, we got some solutions on the table. Now, what can we do with this? And that's where I think we're going to be at. And with Pisces too, we got Mercury and Saturn in Pisces. Pisces is also completions and dissolving what doesn't work anymore. And it's also about hidden information. So with Mercury and Pisces, yeah, just starting at 0 degrees, it's going to be digging up stuff that we had no idea. We thought we've heard it all by now. Oh no, a lot more, a lot more.
A lot more. Well, it's going to be a lot more of the good stuff. That's what we're going to say. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. I cut like 8 inches off and then 3 more. So it was a total of 11 inches that came off. I appreciate that. Yeah, Bev, it's all good stuff coming in, a lot more. They haven't we been told that we can't even imagine what it's going to be like? The positivity and things is good. But we got a lot of cleanup. So it is kind of hard to imagine that. But believe me, I can imagine the good stuff. I know you guys can too. I mean, come on.
Hey, we know it's coming and we've been waiting and waiting, but you keep thinking, is this ever going to happen? But as you look at this, I'm sorry, the astrology is telling me that yes, it's going to.
Yes.
There's too many things and too many energies. And I mean, this stuff, it's not by coincidence. These things are lining up because this is all planned. I mean,
yeah,
we came with a plan and we came here to do this. So,
and it's not like if you had like 12 planets all like at 0 at the same time. I mean, people would have to pay attention to that, but that's not going to happen because there's always going to be a next cycle. There's always going to be something else. It's not just going to end on one day, like a door open and closing, but 5 planets in 1 month, less than a month, that just, that's kind of big.
And it's right before we start the new astrological year too.
So I know the equinox. Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off there. What did you say?
I said it's I lost.
Wait, you're going all like you sound really high. Not high. You sound high pitched again. Like that's why I talked over you because I probably didn't hear you.
That's all right. I got a little closer to the camera. I got to move it around. So we've got that's all happening in March, and in April we have the new astrological year. So it's kind of like give us a preview of what the new astrological year is going to be like. So I think it's kind of like, it's kind of like the sneak peek, the trailer. That's what I believe.
Oh, man. Well, I guess you never really know what you're going to get, do you? What's the saying? I've been having a lot of static electricity this week. Anyone else shocking everybody? Amber? Yes. There's been a lot of static, and I do shock people, and I don't mean to. And if I've shocked you and you're watching this, and I'm sorry.
And I'm blowing light bulbs and fuses this week. So
are you?
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's another thing that happens. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm yawning. Sorry, guys. Just the tiredness and everything, like the waves that are coming over when you are exhausted and tired. I think Amy Gill, I think you said earlier, you just take a nap and then you're good to go. Yeah, and if you can't take a nap, you can still you go into the bathroom and close your eyes. I know I do a lot of energy clearing and I recommend a lot of times that you guys, when you clear your body, you clear your energy body too. It's a good time when you're going, to the bathroom. But if you're going to the bathroom and you need a little cat nap, just go into a quick meditation. You're not going to fall asleep sitting on the toilet, but give yourself a couple seconds of conscious breathing and literally bringing in more energy that you need help with. But also don't forget, you generate energy from within yourself. So you can turn on your energy generator. You don't have to pull it in from the grid work. We can have less pull and tug on the grids from the collective, less tug of war, which will create less competitions elsewhere when it's reflected, like the butterfly effect. You know what the butterfly effect is, right?
Yes.
So if we're consciously doing our own work from within and we're generating the energy, then we're just allowing the outflow to go to those who really do need it. And it's not a constant tug of war going on, because there's still people that are feeling a lot of the tug of war going on. And it's just not a nice feeling. So just remember, you generate that energy yourself. You don't always have to pull it in, but pull it in when you need it. It's there for you. And spread it out there. Spread it out to everybody.
Well, it's kind of like working with these energies too. You know, all these energies, you have the higher and the lower expressions. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you can't always be positive or whatever, but you know, more and more, I believe it's gonna turn on whether it's the positive being put out there or the negative, because this is not a guaranteed thing, but I think we've turned a corner where enough people have become awake and enough people are tapped in and gifts are coming online that it can't go anywhere but up. But that's the thing. When you put the energy out there, then everybody who's putting the positive energy and going for these higher expressions, it definitely means that it's time for it. And I don't think there's enough of the other left. Again, there's going to be more changes than I think we really could ever see possible.
Oh my God. Brev, that's so funny. I love some of these comments we're getting from you guys. Willow, you get the prize on this one because I know who was it? Who asked first? Amber, talking about static electricity. Oh, yeah, just what she said. Oh wait, you're talking about your hair, right, Jeanette? Sorry about that. Lots of static here from Stephanie. That's what she's saying. Shocking the cat all the time. My clothes stick to me is what Amber's saying. Amy's saying yes. The last 2 weeks. Willow, I love you, Willow. This is what I do. Not all the time. I can't. We don't rub feet on the carpet, poke.
Yes.
Yes. Breakers in my house keep popping. Amber saying yes. Yes, the cat.
And it's all in the room that I do my work in. I keep blowing. I got 3-way light bulbs. I just put a new one in not even a month ago. It popped the other day. Later that night, blew a fuse. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Really? Oh my God. That's so funny.
Nowhere else in the house, but in my room. Yeah. Where I do my stuff at.
Oh, I beg your pardon, guys. Well, anybody got any questions?
Next thing I kind of wanted to throw out there, if it's all right, Lynda, was talking about the nodes of fate changing too. Okay. So the nodes of fate, that's your north and south node. And those, the eclipses and the nodes of fate are the same. They're working the same cycle. So we have the north node in Taurus right now and the south node in Scorpio. And that changes July 12th. And we move with the north node in Aries and the south node in Libra. So that's taking things from the south node in the past and taking them to the higher expression of the north node in Aries. So there we are with the destiny thing again. And it's interesting because, okay, it's going to be in Aries and Libra, which is the world axis, because those are cardinal signs and they begin a cycle. So major world changes I see coming through. And this is starting in July 12th, they switch into Aries and Libra. So what that means is we have 2 eclipses, one in Taurus, one in Scorpio that ends up that cycle. And then we'll have an eclipse in Aries and one in Libra. So you've got 4 different signs. And that only happens it's every 18 months that they have their cycles. So that year, every other year when you're changing, you'll have 4 different ones in different signs and before the switch over. So looking at that on the world axis and the cardinal signs of beginning things, Libra is about justice. Aries is about, okay, here's what we figured new. Now how can we put it in place? You got Jupiter in Aries. That's going to still be in there. I think that'll be out. I think it goes into Taurus. We have a little time with that still in Taurus. So, yeah.
So when does the eclipse season start in July, or is that just?
No, we have. Let me see in my notes here.
Because I know you said there was 4 of them, right?
Yeah, the first one, May 5th, we have a lunar eclipse. Excuse me, back up. April 20th, we have a solar eclipse in Aries.
Oh.
And then May 5th, we have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which I got to figure out how that works, because I would have thought you had the 2, Taurus and Scorpio, but no. So we have the solar eclipse, which that also begins the astrological year. That's April 20th. And that's at the last degree of Aries. So, yeah, a lot of things that we were doing in Aries, that's being wound up, and we're in the last degree. It's a critical degree. And then May 5th, we have the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And then we have the next 2 after that. That's as far as I went, was half the year. So,
well, we appreciate you doing that for us, Bev, so that we can know what's going on and be prepared, especially right now in the middle of this 1-2 punch.
Yes.
Because we have all of these retrogrades that are ending, and we're in the middle of that ending right now, like we talked about on our last broadcast, Jupiter going direct and stationing direct and what that all means. So if you haven't seen that broadcast yet, just we invite you to go back and check it out. And all these planets that are doing that now, they're all stationing direct. It's all positive forward movement. And then by March, all these planets, 5 different planets, I'll say it again because it still blows my mind, 5 different planets hitting that 0 point. 0 degrees.
5 new starts. 5
I'm calling it, sorry, I'm calling it the 0 point, even though it's 0 degrees, because it feels like we are hitting a 0 point with this new beginning. That is a new beginning if I ever did hear one.
It does. And the fact, too, that then in July that the nodes of fate are changing into the cardinal signs, which is the world axis, any of the cardinal signs. So you have Aries and Libra. So these are going to be world changes, too. You know, so a lot of people say, oh, people in other countries are talking about, I don't want to hear about the USA's Pluto return. But if you think about it, it's all connected and it all affects each other, you know.
Yep.
So it's a big deal. A lot of people are talking about that, too.
Well, I'll bet if you did the astrology for other countries, it would be very similar to what the United States Pluto return is about. It might not be Pluto return per se, but maybe the birth of their country wasn't tied in with that. So Pluto has to get to a certain place for their Pluto return. But like you said, it's all connected.
It's all connected. And it's just like looking at, okay, we're looking at it this way. Then you run a country's chart on when it was set up and all that. It's kind of like running a personal chart and looking at it, how it affects you personally. So yeah, you can take it overall, and then you can start digging in deeper. And there's so many rabbit holes and so many things that are connected. I tell you, I told Lynda last night, we were texting back and forth about doing this live tonight, and I said, I got to quit because my brain is smoking worse than my cigarette. And yeah, I just had to step back because it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Well, Stephanie's saying she loves all these updates with Bev and she looks forward to them. And Derek's talking about his mind's being blown because the soul already knows how special the moment will be. And I agree with you. That's so well said, Dee.
I like that.
Guiding D Light. If you're not familiar with D, go to his channel, guys. Guiding D, the letter D, like David. Guiding D Light. And Divine Hazel, welcome. I saw you earlier. They're trying to have a one world currency with crypto. Say no. Okay. And then well said, D. It's a comforting feeling. It is a comforting feeling when you know at a soul level that there's a new beginning, and it's like your soul mission, your life mission. Although I would have to say, and I'm just going to interject this one little seed to think about. It's not just this lifetime. It's not just this life mission that you're on. Yeah. You're on the life mission that ends all of the previous life missions. Like, and you're bringing all of that forward and into this moment. Like, this is the lifetime. How cool is that?
And it's healing those ancestral lines. It's healing that past karmic stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of healing going on. And that's why I think we're starting at the 0 degrees with 5 different planets, because we've done that healing. We've put the work in. And I know a lot of us have worked really hard. And sometimes it's been hard to keep going. But, it's that faith and hope that keeps you going. And when I see the astrology like this, I get excited. And I can kind of pull myself back out of that a little bit,
Yeah. Well, it's not always easy to see the bigger picture when you're in the muck and the yuck. So if you find yourself on a poop loop and you need someone to talk to, reach out. We've got a great community here. You can go on over to Holy Bird Tribe over on Facebook if you're there. If you're not on Facebook and this is your community here, there's always somebody you can reach out to talk to. Or, you guys already know this. And everywhere you go, if somebody just needs an extra minute or two of your time so that they can vent, let them, because we have all gone through moments, me recently too, thank you, Bev, where we just need to vent something out. And sometimes you just have to get it out. It's a lot of energy, and there's a lot of stuff that's happening with our transition and transformations. So, excuse me, it's no joke. Just be there for other people the way you would want somebody there for you. It's the golden rule. We know it. I'm not preaching to you anymore. You guys know this stuff.
Because no matter where you're at spiritually, you still have the moments. I had to laugh. Molly McCord said something that made me laugh. She said, you know what? Some of us have the punch card for the dark nights of the soul. You have 9 of them and you get the 10th one free. And I thought, boy, is that true? Because you heal stuff at levels and then you get took back, and you're down there in the pits again going, wait a minute, I thought this was over. No. So you're always going to have those points. But the thing is, you take it, turn it into the positive, and pull yourself back out. That's the key. Easier said than done some days, most days.
Wait,
but yeah.
What's January 23rd?
January 23rd.
Yeah, D saying January 23rd. Got it. Thanks. What's that for?
That's when all the planets are direct.
Okay.
Yeah. And they'll be that way.
Yeah.
April.
Moving forward with plans, if you have commitments, if you have things that you're waiting to make a decision on at that point, like all systems go on the 23rd.
Yes. I think that's going to
be great. It really was.
Yeah, it's systems into play. And then you just kind of take it forward from there. I think there's going to be more, but that's like kind of put the pedal to the metal, and yeah, things are going to start falling in place.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know where this is going to affect you directly and you haven't had your chart yet, please go on over to Bev's website at mysoulsongs.com and see about getting personal readings from Bev, because Sistar knows what she's talking about and she can help you with all of this. And find out in what house this is affecting you in directly. Wait, let me move that up a little longer. So whether it's relationships, or you're going to know anyway, like, because you're going to be having those things present themselves. But if you know in advance things that you can look forward to, this is really going to help here, and you're looking to start a project in that area or something, you'll know that you're going to have all the assistance to help with that. Yeah,
kind of confirm, okay, I'm not losing my mind. This stuff is really happening, because sometimes you question what the hell is going on, and you look at your chart and go, okay, I know, I'm just going to sit down in my chair and be quiet for a little while. That's how I kind of deal with it. But yeah, when you know where it's hitting you, that definitely helps.
Yeah. Well, very good. Does anybody have any questions? I didn't even think to ask you guys. I'm sorry. What is this? I am Corey. Welcome, Corey. Good to see you here, brother. I think I'm not getting the same comments show up behind the screen here as my iPad showing a different one. It comes quicker through here too. So back in StreamYard, it shows up a little bit later. So if I want to put something up and I scroll over here, I have to wait till it pops up in the back office. Anyway, are you seeing them when I put them up on the screen now, Bev? Are you having any trouble seeing them?
Yeah, I've seen them here and there. Yeah.
Okay. Because I wasn't good. I was
moving up to the screen.
They're talking amongst themselves too, which I love seeing. Okay. Willow and Corey saying hi to each other. That's so cute. Oh, I love you guys. All right. It's a glitch in the matrix. All right. So if anybody doesn't have any questions for Bev, what else we got going on? Anything? You gave us like so much to think about and digest tonight, and I'm just going to sum up that I am completely blown away by this 1-2 punch, because if it doesn't shout out, again, I think this is the third time I'm saying this tonight, if it doesn't shout out new beginnings and the universe has got your back and is supporting you, everything's lining up to move forward and help you with this. Like, new beginnings, what do you want to write? Like in March, before the spring equinox, you guys, I challenge you. I'm throwing down the gauntlet now. Here it comes. I'm throwing it down. So do you accept the challenge before the spring equinox to write down your dreams, write down what you want to manifest, put it down in writing.
Rewrite the story. What's the story that you want going forward? That's what that Mars retrograde in Gemini is about. Okay, let's change the story. Let's change the narrative. So yeah, what is it that you want? And you know what? We grow up, we're programmed and all that. And you think about dreams and stuff you wanted to do as a kid. You know what? If things still excite you, take the time and do it. Do what makes you happy, and do what brings your spirit that peace. You'll find what works and what doesn't, and things change. Like going through a lot of these changes we have, you'll find things that you were interested in before that you don't really care about. Mm-hmm. But every time I turn around, I'm falling down a new rabbit hole. So that's how much I love learning. I can't stop.
Oh my God. Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. The whole sponge. Life is so much easier when you're a sponge, when everything's just coming to you and learning and the rabbit holes just appear. It's almost like you're one with the quantum tech when you start having the websites just show up or videos will start playing, but if you're just like stable about it and you're like, oh my God, my video is suddenly playing. Oh my God, this is great. If you're not like over the top excited or kind of like freaked out or scared by it, God forbid. But like, if you're somewhere in the middle and these things start happening, it's like they start happening more and more and more because we can handle the interaction with it, the quantum interaction that is multidimensional, because there is higher tech stuff in higher dimensions. You know, there is nanotechnology and all those things that we want to say, we're not going to transhuman. No, we're not transhuman, but it's different. So you can interact with quantum technology with your consciousness. It's pretty cool.
That's kind of what the age of Aquarius is taking us into. And two, I just wanted to mention, don't ever forget to ask for help from spirit. I know I never ask until I'm in a crisis. And I find out every time I stop and ask, these things show up within like 24 hours, sometimes an hour or two. Yeah. So don't forget to ask for help, because, you know, we always do, but I don't think they're allowed to help us unless we ask a lot of times.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know why I don't do that. And I need to make that a practice, because yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I was having a really hard time and I asked and boom, there it was, you know?
Well, I think that's just us remembering that just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there, or they're not there. Of course they're there.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, like it's like, how do you treat, you know, if you know there's a being in the room with you, are you aware if it's a guardian type or protector type or a soulmate or twin flame or loved one or someone who crossed over or someone who's checking in on you? Like, you know, what are your security set up? How do you know your fields? And these are questions that everybody, when you're doing the work, everyone does their own personal work. When you're doing that work on yourself, you're checking these things. And then when a frequency comes in, you're learning how to identify the energetic fingerprint, so to speak, you know, your own soul signature, energetic signature. When somebody's coming into your space, whether they have a body or not, that's the key. Their frequency is still present, and you can identify that and you can communicate with that as long as you know how to communicate with your own energetic frequency. So when we sit in meditation, we're learning our own energetic signatures, we're learning our frequencies, we're learning how our breath controls it, we're learning by being in super consciousness how to bring in all the elements and really connect with the oneness that is in and through everybody. And once you know yourself and truly do, you can communicate with all these other energetic frequencies. And I'm sorry, I'm preaching to the choir. It just had to come through. Soul spitting here. Soul fire.
Yeah, needed to be said if you said it, you know.
I suppose it just comes through. It's that fire, you know.
Yep. And I tell you what, I touched the tip of the iceberg. Okay, I've not taken a deep dive into the year ahead, and you know, I'll look at other things, but you know, that was just kind of looking at the first 6 months and just seeing what all we had going on. And there's a lot more to it. You know, I can always go deeper down the rabbit hole, which I will do. But yeah, just an overview there.
There we go. Well, your overviews are great. And I think Derek's telling you that he falls into another rabbit hole too, and find new ground with less rabbits.
Yeah, I think I need to. They're everywhere the last few days.
You breathe those energies away, Amber's saying. Well, it depends. If you're talking about the energetic signatures that might come into your space, well, if your space is set up with your own security and it's like 7D and higher, which is what I highly recommend, you always intend that your security is 7th dimensional and higher. You don't get bothered with people that are just accidentally dreaming, astral projecting or something, and then wind up in your space. Like, you don't wind up with any of that. Nothing bothers you at those levels telepathically. So I don't breathe them away. I let them do what they want to do, because their frequency is operating in a lower band. My band is like, say, here, and if they're operating down here, they can be in the same space that I'm occupying in, except where my center point is and my personal fields as far as I have them expanded and protected. So it's like a tube around me. If the tube goes out when I'm sitting comfortably or I'm doing meditation, it might cover the whole area I live in. But if I'm just traveling or walking or whatever, the tube around me is like so many feet out. I don't really keep it. I don't hide it as much anymore. But no being can come in that space. They'll be shooed away. I don't know. Yeah, breathe them away. How about like blink them away? Goodbye.
Yeah.
No, they can't mess in your field at all. But if there's other beings that are learning, watching, traveling, communicating, sending love, thinking of you, unintentionally thinking of you, you don't want to like send any force wind to them. So you don't want to have any intention behind energies to them. You want to neutralize that. That's called being in the middle ground. So you don't want to judge either way. So you don't want to breathe them away because then you're forcing a wind on them through energies. Does that make sense? I hope. All right. Well, anyway. All right, guys, I know I can get carried away.
I can too. I know with all this stuff, man, I can't wait to really dig into some more stuff, but I had to stop because I knew just what I wanted to cover tonight. But man,
Wait,
astrology.
hold on. Bev, got to hear this one. All right, so Amber's saying, hey, Angel, how's it going? Yeah, re-listen later. All right, Amber's saying, I thought maybe I had a ghost. My broken TV came on to a church channel and shut off when I tried to change it. Oh,
that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Wow. Okay, so what would you say to that, Bev? Because we get you have visitors, you know.
Just had to kind of see what the message was, and maybe you weren't ready to hear it yet. I don't know. But somebody tried to make a connection.
What I'd like to know, someone's trying to make a connection. What I'd like to know, though, is that when you say broken TV, do you mean it doesn't work at all and then it just suddenly started working? Because if it's broken and it always stays on the same channel, and maybe it just the wires got crossed somehow with the signal. I don't know. That's pretty interesting. And I don't believe in ghosts, really. Sorry, hold you up. Oh, Amber, you're not holding us up. No. I'm actually just hanging out right now because I think the astrology is pretty much wrapped up, and I just wanted to hang out longer if anybody had any questions or, spirit wants to say anything, maybe through Bev or through me. Turn on the connection, maybe. Yeah. Well, what do you think, Bev? What do you think overall for between now and spring? You think by the spring equinox that everybody should write their new?
I think you can start putting things in writing because January is going to kind of, when everything goes direct, it's going to give you a little bit of a plan. And as things move forward, we get into March, I think we're really going to have projects, ideas. We kind of know what really is important, what really matters to us now. We're taking the steps and putting them into place. And it's just like that cycle coming through.
That sounds really good. It's so I want to know what's going to go on in February because we've got all this going, we said by January 23rd and all that. And then it's like February is just kind of, and then we got 5 planets and all this positive movement in March. So like, I'm curious what's going to happen in February.
I'm going to take a look at February. Like I said, I've got a year ahead where it lays out all the aspects in that. So I haven't really ventured that far in. I didn't go past early January, but I picked up that March thing. Something just dawned on me. So I got my ephemeris out and started looking, and that's how I discovered those 5 planets were going to at 0 point. So yeah, there's more to dig into. As you know, there always is with astrology.
Yeah, but that's intense though. It still blows my mind.
Big time.
Amber was saying her TV was on a black screen for a month. So It was definitely broken. Well, I think I agree with Bev. I have to agree with Bev. Somebody was definitely trying to get in touch. That kind of stuff just doesn't happen. If you don't believe it, you don't believe it. It's okay. But
no, it doesn't.
I would say don't worry. Don't be scared.
Yeah, I wouldn't be scared of it. No.
Yeah. Because, think of it legit. What? Like I'm just going to venture out here and just say you're a child of God. Like you're protected. So if you're that little inner child, and I've had dream experiences where this is like you're going up against the craziest of evil and you're just a little child and they can't touch you. They can try, but you're protected. So if there was a poltergeist, then it wasn't just like somebody trying to get in touch with a message that would be heartwarming, expanding, a loved one saying hello, somebody's birthday, something like that when they're always with us. If you have an experience like that or haven't had that experience, you might start having them more and more. Maybe they're letting you know, like you can communicate with them. They're just trying to say hello to you. So
keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open and see what else. Because I had that. Well, I'll share a story real quick. It was my birthday, and usually my mom makes an appearance, so I get a sign or something. And it was right before midnight, and I went upstairs to go to bed, and I said, "It's almost midnight, and I haven't heard from her. She must have forgot me." Well, I laid down. My clock hit the midnight, and the alarm started going off. It was not set. I couldn't turn it off. I finally had to unplug it. It was not set, and it would not stop. Yeah, so I said, "All right, so you didn't forget me." It was just funny the way it happened right at midnight.
Right at midnight. That's definitely mom. And Amber's
Yes,
saying thanks. She said felt like grandma probably. Well, ask yourself too, is that a channel that grandma would probably watch?
or something.
You know,
Yeah, something she would have.
on a church channel, or she was a church going lady, that kind of thing. So that might be her way of reaching you and, letting you know she's okay. But isn't that cool? Sometimes you look back on things like this and you're like, oh my God, that was the anniversary of
Yes,
someone's
yes.
birthday or something else or whatever. And you're like, I didn't even know till after sometimes. That happens.
Then you put those little things together afterwards, and it's really cool. I got a book. I started writing things down, and because there for a while, so many things were happening, I couldn't keep track of them all, and I didn't want to forget them because they were such, comfort.
Mm-hmm. It is comforting too, especially when when you get over that initial fear part, because we sense that somebody or some other being is around in the room. When it first starts happening, it's a startle, So getting
Yeah,
used to that, not being startled, then you can have more contact. And that's the kind of stuff that's being measured and with quantum technology and all that. That's the
yeah.
kind of stuff they're watching for as humans graduate more and more. Amy's saying that my mom's house has ghosts and we call her Gladys. She likes to turn on ceiling fans. I love it. I know the more people you talk to, the more you're probably going to find out that do have ghosts or have had experiences with them. I like to say spirit because the word ghost has such a connotation to it that has fear attached to it. So
Right,
I like to say
right.
spirit, but
I had an
whether
older lady that would turn the water on in a trailer I had. Just turn it on all odd hours, and I think it was that older person that lived there. Yeah, that was interesting.
I love a good haunting story, but not a scary one. Whoops. Where am I at? Angel's saying, yes, it is. Take me to church. That's a great song. Take me to church. I'll worship like a dog at the song. Da, da, da. I have it. I can hear it, but I can't sing it. And don't ask me to. You don't want to hear it. Oh, they also have a man who walks down the hall. That would suck. A man who walks down the hallway, wooden floors, loud.
Wow, yeah, I've heard that before too. Yeah, I've had all kinds of experiences over the years. Yeah, if it catches me off guard, sometimes it startles me, but I'm pretty used to it.
All right, what's this? Amber, Angel said she'll never get used to it. Doesn't stop them a lot less. Oh yeah, so you don't jump as much. I get you.
Yeah.
Mine is smoke alarms always popping off. D saying makes sense though. I'm all fire. Ha ha ha. Yeah, when you go around something and when you're feeling that energy around and it's hot. It's like if you just touch one thing, Yep.
I did that happen too, D.
Oh my goodness. Such a sweet spirit. Okay, well, not the loud one, right? Amy's
Yeah,
saying yes.
yeah.
That's what we should do. We should have a live and just invite everybody to come in and share their experiences with, like we're doing right now with ghosts. But we'll just make a whole stream dedicated for that.
Yeah, just
Pay
have.
attention if you ever smell smoke. What's that,
Yeah.
Bev?
Oh, I don't know what I was saying. I lost it. That's okay.
We just don't touch hot things as a rule. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the analogy we like to use when there's a child. We're like children spiritually, and you're going to get burned. And then you're going to learn. And some people don't even want to learn for themselves; they'll just trust what somebody else tells them.
Yeah.
That's kind of like they say the wise child who can see someone else and learn from their mistakes too. And I don't mean mistakes, but you know what I mean, experiences.
Experiences, yeah. It's all about experiences. They can't judge them as good or bad because there's both.
Yeah.
You always find something positive even in the worst experience. That's what I found.
Yes.
You got to dig for it sometimes. Sometimes it ain't apparent.
Sometimes it kicks you right in the ass.
Yes.
Fact.
And you go, what is that about? What possibly good could have come out of that? Then later down the road, you'll say, oh, okay. Makes sense now.
All right, what do we got going on here? Gladys is sweet. Okay, Gladys, that was her name. That's right. We believe she's the wife of a couple who built the house in 1926. She passed away there also. Well, that would make sense that if she was still hanging out in the house. And I was going to say there was a house that was haunted. Now when we were in high school, and I forget how many people died in the house. It was crazy. And they wound up leveling it, and now there's a Wawa there. If you don't know what a Wawa is, it's a really cool convenience store, only available on the East Coast, but definitely moving down south now. But from Pennsylvania is Wawa, Pennsylvania, where I live 15 minutes from the heartland of where it got started. Wawa.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. You know, people in our town know of her from her previous owners of the home. All right. We felt heat and proceeded. So, Angel, when you see ghosts, do you feel heat or cool or both or either? I say ghosts, you know what I mean, when the spirits come around. I kind of get more sensation. Sometimes it'll come with a cooling sensation, but most of the time it's warm. So it feels like hot liquid light. When a spirit's holding my hand or touching me, it's usually a hot liquid light. And it's funny because they always depict it as dead people, as it being cold when they come around. And yeah, maybe early on I had some of those experiences, but now it's just warm. So
I get that too.
Huh?
I said I get that too.
The warm?
Yeah, the warm. Or if I unexpectedly walk into a room, and sometimes like if there were spirits that would get really cold, and I'll walk through it just because I wasn't paying attention, or it wasn't something that really hit me, like that warm, I guess.
Yeah. Angel's saying they tend not to form anymore. We speak instead. Dee's saying the divine flame has been encapsulating me lately. Oh, this one there. Yep. You can feel that when it's going in there. How long are you able to hold it longer and longer, Dee? I'm finding that it comes and it stays maybe when it's like, you know, I'm going to say no more than 2 minutes at a time when it comes in, maybe even less than that. Because it comes in, you feel it, you have enough time to adjust to it and everything, and then a couple breaths, and then it goes. So like one of my deep long in breaths and deep long out breaths is about as long as I can hold it. Because if it's more than that, you burn out your circuitry. You know what I mean? It's like too much.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we would really truly be phoenixes at that point, wouldn't we? We don't want to burst into flames, you guys. Oh.
Some days I feel like I'm going to.
What's
when I
that?
get this astrology running around in my head, I feel like I'm going to spontaneously combust because it's just,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sometimes it just gets you. Like, I don't know. I'm feeling really, really tired right now. How are you feeling?
I'm a little tired too. I think I'll probably just kick back tonight a little bit. And I'm not doing anything else, nothing to use my brain. Maybe watch a little mindless something on TV.
Yes. All right, guys. Well,
Happy New Year. Hope everybody has a wonderful New Year.
Yes. Thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight. We love you guys so much.
Hope I said something that'll give you some hope, because I'm telling you, we've got it coming. So go into the new year knowing, hey, this is going to be a good year. We're going to make some changes, some positive stuff. But tread carefully what you say, and know that Venus is conjunct Pluto tomorrow too. So, yeah, very mindful.
That's a good thing or a bad thing? Pluto conjunct is a good thing, right?
Pluto is like the phoenix, rebirth. It changes things forever, and it's conjunct Venus. So it could be relationships, it could be finances, it could be some shakeup. So yeah, just lightly.
In a good way, though, Bev. Conjunct's supposed to be a good thing.
It can, but just know it's about endings, and how it shows up for you depends on where it's at in your chart. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is kind of a heads up, because I don't know where it's at in your chart. So just know that it could be, some things you weren't expecting.
You are rocking my astrology knowledge base right now, because I'm always thinking of conjunct as good and positive. And I hear Venus and I think, planet of love. How could you go wrong if you're conjuncting with Venus?
Yeah, but if you're Pluto, you're saying, enough of this. I break everything down, destroy it, and transmute it. Now what do we got new? So
what a shame. Because I want to have Pluto. I want Pluto to be like, I don't know, Pluto to be like Pluto people, like the psychic, gifted, change-making, Pluto people.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm looking at the higher end of Pluto. I don't want to look at the lower end of them.
It's all a balancing game.
Check where Pluto is in the chart right after this. I know it's in Libra for me, but not sure. Here. That's Amy suggesting that. All right.
The transiting Pluto is the one that I'm talking about. These are all transits. And then when you have Pluto in a particular house in your chart, then you can break that down. So what happens is that transiting planet is going on the outside of your chart, and as it hits the different houses, and then your natal chart, which is in the middle where all the planets were at when you were born, that's like a picture of taken in the sky. That's your energy, and you read that chart from there. So it's different than the transiting Pluto. It's how the planets are moving in the sky. Then you look at your chart and then see how it's moving around your chart, if that helps a little bit. So I don't know if she's saying Pluto and Libra.
Amber's Pluto's in Scorpio. Is that for her, or where it is now?
They're talking about their natal chart.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
You bleeped out there for a second. I don't know if you buffered or.
Uh-oh. Okay, I think I was buffering. That's the universe saying, okay, Lynda, go to bed. I think it is anyway. It's only 8:47. I don't know. Like when you crash and burn, it's time. A lot of energy been going out today. We had, like I told you, we had the ladies at the lobby, and when you're with people in person and everything, it's like you can only go so long. So I think my energy fountain for today is closing down.
That's all right. I appreciate you letting me come on here, Lynda, and talk about all this stuff. And I'm hoping I help somebody out tonight or give you a little bit of positivity. And again, Happy New Year. And I think this is going to be a good year.
It is. Bev, you always do so much when you come on here for people. Don't ever doubt for 1 second. These guys, they come on here to see you and hear what you have to say. You know a lot. You're teaching a lot, and we can't wait for your class. So thank you for being here on this channel. Thank you for all the work. You guys don't even know all the time that she spends before even coming on here. So, to get ready and prepare this template of good information that we get to help us out with, whatever's coming next. So thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here. And don't forget to go to Bev's website and check it out if you guys want to have your chart done.
And if you guys want to sign up, I'm getting ready to send out an announcement. I'm going to do a special in January. So if you guys want to sign up, then I'll send that email out. And if you're interested, I can send you some deals and stuff if you sign up.
Yeah, definitely get on our website, guys, and get on that email. Bev does not spam anybody, and neither do I, too. So sign up for my email, too.
No, just let you know, hey, doing a deal, so much off a chart or whatever. Or, hey, I'm getting ready to put a class out. That way I can kind of keep you apprised of what's going on.
That's the important thing when there's a class going on, because I know a couple of you guys were talking about that, and more than a couple of you are going to join that class. So, yes, indeed, get on that. Bev's the real deal. We love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Happy, healthy, wonderful 2023 to all of you guys. I love you so much.
You guys have a great one.
Bye.